land safe now. Let's turn that Edge 540 around. In the display by both the P40 Kittyhawk and of course what everyone wants to see is the Spitfire. The Mark 9 Spitfire here today. I think it's the latest of restored Spitfires in Australia. The latest been completed, and I don't think it's been flying for a year or so. So we're very lucky here at Old Station to be witnessing Cam's Spitfire in a short moment, but not before we show our appreciation. I think they're turning them short on the taxi to get those warbirds off the plane, or he might come all the way along. If he does, kids, you know what to do. Get up, wave your hands in the air. That's one of the best pilots on the planet you've just witnessed, and one of the craziest aircraft in the land, the Edge 540 and Glenn Graham. No hands, Mum. Well, we have not finished yet here, folks. Still got a little bit more to go. There's plenty to go through the night.
What time is it? 42.
And the Kittyhawk, one of my personal favourite aircraft. I've got to shout out again to McDermott Aviation, because it is them. It is that great group that has brought the Kittyhawk up from the Hunter Valley here to put on a show at Old Station Air Show. I tell you what, I had heard from it, I had never seen it, but there's going to be many people hearing about this when I get home. What a great place to put on a show, great crowd and an atmosphere. The vibe here is something that only can happen at the Old Station Air Show.
I'll mention the Old Station as much as possible.
And I'll go quiet, very quiet, when these aircraft take off. So we've listened to the radials. We're now about to listen to V12 horsepower, folks.
See anything?
Quite a rare aircraft, despite over 1,600 being built, well, 20,000 were built before, during and after World War II. There's only 50 remain airworthy today, and was in continuous production before, during and after World War II. Long airstrip here at Old Station to give you that unique opportunity here. They get the aircraft off the ground and they'll keep it low. Have a listen, folks. Get your videos ready for World War II history. Here comes the Kittyhawk. Spitfire. Got that one wrong. Got it when he went past. I could only get it half wrong.
I'm shorter.
So beautiful Spitfire taking off there. Cam Rolf Smith at the stick of that one. And often said to be the planes that won the war. Here comes the Kittyhawk. I'm going to tell you, you don't see that in too many places, ladies and gentlemen. One of them just off the ground coming past like that. What a shot. I'm sure plenty of the photographers introduced to service of August 1938. It's amazing, it's such a fast and still regarded performance aircraft was built over 90 years ago. It was Captain Joseph Summers who famously was the first pilot to fly the prototype. And in his first 8-minute flight, it is famously known that he got out of that aircraft and said, "Do not touch a thing." So they got it right in the first. So the Hawker Hurricane, similar, it was the most numerous aircraft used by the Royal Air Force during the Battle of Britain, but the Spitfire was perceived by the public to be the main fighter and the one that won the war.
Yeah.
Shortly after became the backbone of the Royal Air Force Fighter Command after the Battle of Britain. It was much loved by its pilots. It was continuously enhanced and improved over the course of the war. Served multiple roles, including interceptor, fighter bomber, photo reconnaissance, and a trainer. They originally designed to use the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, around 1,000 horsepower, but later marks of the Spitfire featured more powerful Merlin motors, and the final were powered by the Rolls-Royce Griffin engines, producing upward and over 2,300 horsepower. So they were produced at the Supermarine factories in Southampton until German raids destroyed them in 1940. They were fortunate enough to have the jigs were distributed to other locations around the United Kingdom, with components distributed to multiple companies. Full production lines were set up in Reading, Hursley, Salisbury and the Castle Bromwich factory. The latter produced a total of 12,129 Spitfires, including 5,665 Mark 6s. This is a Mark 9 that we are seeing fly today. I learned a hard lesson when I started commentating air shows, ladies and gentlemen. I'm known to get excited and to call it as you see it, but we all come here to listen to those beautiful V12s sing through the sky. And we are very lucky to be able to do that in today's day and age. So it wasn't too long ago that in Australia, they were not allowed to fly these warbirds the way they do today. Thankfully, the rules have changed and we get to experience this. They stopped producing these in 1948. They remained in service into the middle of the 50s with air forces around the world. The last serving Spitfire was retired from the Irish Air Corps in 1961.
Look at the bottom.
Nice barrel roll there performed by both pilots. And of course, the sound that the Brits loved, ladies and gentlemen. So the bombing of Britain and the Battle of Britain, it was the Spitfire and the noise and its capabilities that some say won the war. Again, an unmistakable sound. Both Cam and Paul putting on a beautiful top wing display there.
Mommy, I made a paper airplane. So I can't pick an airplane.
I can't see him anymore.
Over there.
Surely we will see Cam split from the back, and Paul's going to wick up the Kittyhawk for us. A little bit about the Kittyhawk. They first flew in 1938. It was a modification of the previous Curtiss P-36 Hawk. Third most produced American fighter of World War II after the P-51 and P-47. There goes Cam down the Spitfire. He'll bring himself round back for a safe landing. So nearly 14,000 P-40s were built before they ceased production in November of 1944. They're called the Warhawk by the Americans. The British and Soviets referred to them as the Tomahawk until the P-40D, at which point they were called the Kittyhawk. Over 200 pilots from the America, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, South Africa and the Soviet Union became aces flying the P-40, with at least 20 becoming double aces.
He's over behind the hill somewhere.
What the hell, man?
The wing structure has 5 spars, allowing them to pull high G turns and take a tremendous amount of punishment. This aircraft was quite durable and often came back
Although,
with absolutely gunshot holes everywhere, but still able to fly.
There you go.
They were initially provided with 2 half-inch Browning machine guns in the nose, synchronised to 520 propeller blades, plus 2 303 Browning machine guns on each wing. Here comes Paul Bennett in the Aviation Kittyhawk. What a beautiful sight and sound. Titillating all the senses here today. We are on station. All with a 90-year-old aircraft. So this P-40E Spectre Allison V1710-39 liquid cooled as mentioned before, producing a slight over 1,000 horsepower, about 1,150 or 858 kilowatts. Weighs at about 2,800 kilos empty and has a 4,100 kilo maximum takeoff weight. It'll cruise along at 235 knots or 430 kilometers an hour all day. But if you push the balls to the wall, as they say, 310 knots at 580 kilometers an hour. So this particular aircraft was constructed in Buffalo, New York in 1942. It was allocated to the Royal Air Force's Mk1A Kittyhawk, but was diverted to Australia later that same year when it was allocated to the US Army Corps 68th Pursuit Squadron in Tonga. In 1942, October, it was transferred to the Royal New Zealand Air Force and it's thought to have been there with the 15th Squadron. So it remained with the New Zealand Air Force until 1948, where it was sold for scrap, believe it or not, along with 50 others, remaining in a scrapyard until 1954, until it was rescued for restoration. The late great Cole Pay, I think you would all know who that gentleman is in the Pay family, based down in Scone, purchased this aircraft in 1994 and took it to Scone for a comprehensive rebuild. Look at this! Second P-40 to be restored by the Pay family. And their first was restored back in the 80s and now is in a museum in Montana. Remember folks, I said earlier, there was a time not too long ago where our government did not allow these planes to be flown on display as you see them today. So the Pay family did what they did best and rebuilt that rivet by rivet, every part of that aircraft completely restored. And I think they first run that engine up in November 2004 and it flew in December of the same year. Great paint scheme. When you go over later on and have a look, it's in the colour scheme of RAAF 3rd Squadron, flown by Robert Bobby Gibbs. Famous and rewarded pilot himself. Many honours and awards given to Bobby. And he was able to witness that aircraft completed. He signed the engine cowling in 2007, not long before his party. So it was great to see that he could see that. And an absolute beautiful aircraft up close. Much like the display that Paul, the regular pilot of this Warbird, and demonstrates it absolutely on point as he comes back in low again. There's only about 35 P-40s remaining airworthy in the world. There's about 13 in static display. Apparently there's about 36 under restoration now at the moment. So the world of air shows is looking good, folks. It's And certainly, when you've got places like this to put on a show, I think we'll be around for a while yet. And of course, those people, we pay tribute to them for their hard work in restoring these warbirds. You see a bit of fun out the background. I can see Cameron Smith winding up that Spitfire. Now we had the crowd looking for the Spitfire. Paul Bennett will bring the Kittyhawk in nice and safe. But just look a little over the wing of that big C-160, and here comes Cameron Smith in the Spitfire.